And you know what's going to happen now, Carson? You should admit your situation. There will be more dignity in it.
You go to hell.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let me ask you something. If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule?
Good.
Good.
Yes.
We're going.
How do
Let's
I
go.
Segue from that into something productive. Let's start this
Oh,
off.
geez, how do I segue? Oh, gosh.
Oh no.
Oh, no. It's not like we can't cut the...
There's no cutting.
There's no cutting.
We promised.
We're so raw.
All right. Anyway, so Andrew, do you want to set this one up, and I'll knock it down?
We watched a movie today.
That's right. We did watch a movie today, an American classic.
Set it up.
Just-
Here we go.
There we go. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we watched today a really great film by probably. Would you?
One of the
All right.
best.
Would you say some of the best directors there are still?
Yeah. Some of the best living
Definitely. I don't
directors.
think I've ever been disappointed by one of their films except for one. Like there's some flops. Yeah, but I just mean more astoundingly, their recent films, like they still hit it out of the
I don't know,
park.
like Burn After Reading, I didn't find terribly
Oh, really?
interesting.
So if you didn't know, after that dropping that title, we're talking about the Coen brothers films, and specifically, kind of a bit of a departure from what they usually do in films.
I guess.
Fargo was pretty dark for some.
Yeah, I'd say
parts.
it's like in the line of Fargo.
Yeah, but it's so
It's
much.
a different style. They're doing.
That's true, but Fargo is.
Maybe we should say what the name of the movie is.
Well, the movie is No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
There we go.
Anyway,
Roll
so
credits.
I feel okay. So I don't know. I've never actually read No Country for Old Men, but I do
Nor have
feel
I.
like they really capture like the sparseness of Cormac McCarthy like pretty perfectly.
I
this
really-
movie. So that's probably why it's like stylistically different. I guess.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, it's still
well,
I'd still
also,
say it's certainly in line with the rest of their work. I don't think it's terribly
yeah, no,
different.
but one main reason.
very stripped down, I suppose.
Yeah, but there's one massive reason why I think it would be such a stripped down departure from the other films.
Because it's based.
No, because well, it depends what your definition of that is, I guess. But no, because there's the other films like Fargo, for instance. Fargo ends with a kind of glimmer of hope way. Even though you see some really just gnarly stuff, and you see, was that your partner there in the wood chipper? Also,
Yeah.
because it's Midwestern, and it's gonna be, they always capture the spirit of the place in which they're making a film about.
I
And
feel like Fargo captured like where we live.
Fargo captured the Midwest in a
We
big
live
way.
in the Midwest, by the way.
Yeah, we're Midwesterners, so yeah. Hey, you betcha.
betcha.
But no, it captured. Yeah, definitely. You've spoken with some of my my relatives, and you've heard some of the people.
No,
around
yeah.
the area.
I mean,
like
we
there is that, and it's really kind of hokey, and it's kind of a like they overdo it always. Like obviously,
Yeah.
the Big Lebowski is not like. Well, maybe in that case it is exactly like California.
I wouldn't really know.
But like no, this one it captures Fargo captures something, and it's kind of and it's such a beautiful day, and you killed your friend. There's that sort of that kind of ending, and there's like a glimmer of hope. But the reason why I would say, and this is a really long, winding the trail back here, getting back to topic, I suppose. The reason why I'd say it's such a big departure is because there is none of that. Like the glimmer of hope it's very, very faint, and it's only, I would say, right at the end, and we'll get to that. I want to get to that later, because I want to just kind of tease that a bit, I guess, that No Country for Old Men does not have an ambiguous ending. And
Hot take.
and it does have, it's wrapped up really
I
nicely,
guess. I don't know.
I think. That might not be a shocker.
Well, I know that. Yeah, the only time I've really heard that take, I guess, is just like from that College Humor sketch we were talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah. I always thought that when I first watched
Cue
it,
the clip.
but no, but I just wanted to say that we should put some of those clips in here. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that like the reason it's because this whole film is about nihilism, or rather the sort of the the place that it sits, like the era of nihilism. And so there's no overt kind of messages of hope or anything. Like it's just absolute like meaninglessness and all the various different kinds of nihilists, I would say, in this movie.
Well, you're talking about like nihilism according to
Well, I can define it for you.
Friar or Father Seraphim Rose, I forget.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely
one?
talking about, I am evoking Father Seraphim Rose, but also
Father
Nietzsche. So to kind of put a point on what nihilism is, what does nihilism mean, says Nietzsche? That the highest values are losing their value. There is no good. There is no answer to the question, why? Unquote. As per Friedrich Nietzsche from Will to Power. Very succinctly on the meaning of nihilism. Yes, succinctly. Anyways, so that's nihilism. You know, this sort of the meaninglessness of it. But I want to talk a little bit first about kind of the sort of setting. The setting and the implication of where this film is set, and kind of from a point of view of the Coen brothers, as we were just saying, kind of tackle different parts of America. They really get this kind of idea of Americana. And so as well in this film, they really capture that. And that in this film, it is Texas, which, you know, it's like where would you pinpoint like the sort of like when people say like Americans, like what do you think they think of? I think obviously,
Yeah, probably like, you know, if you're talking about like outside of America.
Yeah.
As an
like,
insider of America looking at an outsider of America looking at an insider of America, I would think like cowboy hats, you know,
yeah,
tumbleweed guns,
right.
all that type of stuff. Yes.
But that's
Big
kind of
open
like
plains.
if you were gonna say of like the golden days of America, and the kind of like what America represents when they're like pushing west.
Oh.
It's like the cowboy, like the
Yeah, it depends on
or
what you mean by golden age.
Sure, I guess.
You could say like expansion, you know, businesses.
Right.
you
Like
know,
the
innovator,
auspicious,
like we talked about in
yeah,
Dirty Harry.
exactly.
That's a big like, and the Coen brothers have actually done that, like the Hudsucker Proxy,
Which
was
I
about
did not. I didn't get far in that movie.
That's about the invention of the hula hoop. It's about like his basic like, it's like robots, you know, like the movie Robots.
Oh,
Second time that movie's come up, I think, and
has it really? Because I don't know if I actually caught the first reference if you brought it in, because I'd never seen that film.
oh, okay, yeah, the one with like Ewan McGregor, like Zootopia, sort of is kind of like that, you know, like optimistic person comes into the big city, has to change things, you know.
Yeah,
They run into problems. It's not quite ideal, but by the end, it pretty much is.
sure. Okay, that is such a man.
Yeah,
Now
it's like it's a common.
trope.
I don't know. I guess it's like an American trope.
Sure.
I,
Sure. But like my point being that like I do think that the perspective from the outside is like, what do people know about America? Well, they know like the two biggest states. It's pretty much it. Like the outsiders looking in,
New
I
York.
kind of feel it's like, New York as well. But like it's like they know the big places. So it's like California, and when they think about California, they think about Hollywood. And then you think about you think about Hollywood. What do you think about? It's like my mind goes immediately to the Western and goes immediately to like the like the most filmed genre ever, and like where can you place it? Where can you place the American dream? And also like the individualist kind of like where it's still kind of alive and it's still burning. And I would say it's Texas, or like at least that like Texas has an element of the kind of like the libertarian freedom kind of thing, like it's like I always kind of see that and I place it in Texas.
yeah.
Much as you got Gaston flags all over the place in Wisconsin as well, but it's like that wasn't born here.
No, probably not.
Yeah, or it's like it's not really
Although
its
the birth
natural
of the
home.
Republican Party was in Wisconsin.
That's true. Ripon, very close to here.
So yeah.
Yeah, so
You can
shout
thank
out.
us for all the hacky memes and boomerisms. Started right here.
But anyway, yeah, no, I just want to say that like Texas to me kind of represents this sort of the frontier state and the sort of like the it's the Last Stand, the Alamo, like that kind of thing of like that spirit really lives there in Texas. And so that flavors this movie quite a bit. And there's this like there are a lot of moments in there where just this kind of Americana charm comes out. Specifically, I want to think of like one moment when Llewellyn is being questioned at the border, and he's in a hospital gown, and there's this guy just like questioning him and going, you been to America, it's like what you been to Nam, and there's this kind of like charm in it that is just like when he's like finally tells him, and he says like, yeah, I went to Nam, here's the tours and stuff I went on, and then he goes like, let's turns and does that cliche thing, like, Willie, let's get this man into town, and there's this kind of like, oh yeah, that's America, like that's that's an American way to handle it.
Yeah.
And so Texas is a great place to put it. And then you got you've got all this imagery of the sort of the Western, kind of. The movie starts with these big empty kind of desert shots, and it's like, yeah, it sets up a Western of sorts,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that there's a kind of implication in this sort of that like because the movie does eventually get into the sort of the deeper aspects of nihilism and constantly asks the question like why and how do you account for like all these horrendous things, and it's like it's happening in Texas, and it's it's like it's kind of like it's just like it makes it feel like a ghost town, like this spirit is just hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really effective in the like as Texas in the backdrop. All of that. So I guess the next thing that I would want to get into would be the perspective of the film. And I guess I ask you. So I'll ask you about the first time that you saw this movie, because it's like, because I kind of want to contrast this too, because the first time I saw this movie compared to recently seeing this movie and just thinking like, man, this is way more profound than I thought it was. I don't know, like if you want to elaborate a bit on your experiences of seeing the movie for the first time and what you took away from it initially versus what you're taking away from it now. I guess. So when did you first see this movie?
Yeah, probably when I was like 14.
14 or so.
Yeah, I bought it on my iPod Touch. Like that was the first time I saw it. I missed a lot of the subtleties of like, what was happening on screen, basically. Like,
yeah.
I don't think I knew what was going on like half of the time in that movie.
I'm
probably the first time I saw it.
I'm tempted to.
There's a lot of like visual
Lynch
information that, like when he's putting like the, I don't know, like the suitcase into the vent.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it's just, I don't know what's going on. This screen is like so tiny and crappy.
Yeah,
filled with dust.
Those were really small too. They had the black bars on either side. I can remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and like with the making the whole thing even tinier.
David Lynch was absolutely
harder to
right.
interpret.
It's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your telephone. Get real.
Don't watch movies on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was right.
Oh, we can put that clip in.
Oh, we should. You should cover up my horrible
Just
impression
censor
of
it.
David Lynch there. Or keep it in and do a double and just see how close I got.
It's such a sadness.
I do want to, I want to say though, the first time I watched it, like the whole thing that I took away from it was exciting cat and mouse. And Tommy Lee Jones is there. And then also...
Tommy Lee Jones is great.
Yeah, I know, but the first time I watched
Brush
it, like,
over that?
the first time I watched it,
Oh,
it was
okay.
just like, yeah, there's he's a good sheriff. Good. I'm glad they cast a guy that I like as the sheriff. But the real story is the cat and mouse chase, and it's so exciting. And you get to, and then and then it ends, and you're like, wait, what? And like the first time I watched it, like it was just absolutely lost on me. And now it's just
Are we
like
just spoiling everything?
we are. So we're into spoilers.
Okay.
We spoiled
Oh, I
Dirty Harry
guess.
as well. Like,
Yeah.
we should just honestly have anybody who'd listen to this podcast should expect just to spoil things,
Yeah.
And
Still have a disclaimer beforehand. But yeah, like basically like I don't know. Did you think that like because like the main character dies about a half hour before the movie actually ends, I think.
yeah, and it's like that is just from the if you're watching it from the perspective of Llewellyn, then it's just like it's very unsettling.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh,
Very unceremonious too.
yeah, like he's just gone, and that's it. And you're like, you're just kind of left to sit there and think like, okay, well, I don't know why I'm sticking around here anymore.
Who cares about Tommy Lee Jones and his wife.
Yeah, and you get to the very end, and it's like this really, if you're watching it from Llewellyn's perspective, and you get to the end, it's just like, oh great, now Tommy Lee Jones, he was a good sheriff, but why am I listening to him recount dreams to his wife, and then it just goes black, and that's it. No, you shouldn't watch this movie from Llewellyn's perspective. He's a great character. It's really the reverse, that it's like the sheriff is the eyes of this movie. The sheriff's perspective is the perspective. It is the one thread that follows all the way through. It's the voice you hear in the very beginning telling you the narrative and setting up what's going to be in what the movie is going to be asking. And then he has the first word and the last word. And so, yeah, it's so much richer from that perspective as well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, throughout this entire film, they are asking why. And in the first, everything he says he's when he grew up as a sheriff, he's talking about the old days that some officers didn't carry guns. And there's just this kind of idea that things were much more, more tame. But then he starts describing crimes and criminals that say that, a criminal that killed a 14-year-old girl and said that he would do it again.
Paper said it was a crime of passion, but he told me there wasn't any passion to it. Told me that he'd been planning to kill somebody for about as long as he could remember. Said if they turned him out, he'd do it again. Said he knew he was going to hell. Be there in about 15 minutes. I don't know what to make of that. I surely don't.
Yeah, and so it's like the entire time it's asking that question and why. And so I think this is a good time to get into the character played by Javier Bardem.
Yep.
What a great character.
What a great character.
No, it's like
it's hard because there's so many psychopath killer characters now. Like I said, when we were watching it, he's kind of overshadowed, I guess, as far as psychopath killer villains go, in the pantheon of psychopath killer, criminal bad guys in movies Joker.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight came out the next year and kind of blew everybody's socks off with.
Yeah,
no, that's
I just remember seeing T-shirts of the Heath Ledger Joker for ever, and just thinking into the point where it just started getting really cringe.
Kind of sucked. I feel like he was just overshadowed.
Perfect though, it's fine because it's this little gem that you can find that is nobody's wearing T-shirts with with Anton Chigurh's face on them, wig, with dumb quotes that say "Hey friendo,
what's the most you ever lost in a toy toss?"
Oh man, and
toss.
just his way, his method of speaking and everything, it's just so so mechanical. And I feel like Andrew now is a time I've been
you
oh
gonna play
man.
something on your phone?
Yeah, I lost it though. Man, we've already got a Nietzsche quote in there, and I feel like we're due a G.K. Chesterton quote as well to balance things out.
Yeah.
So paraphrasing is good as well.
Okay.
But something about the rational and sanity.
Oh, yeah, G.K. Chesterton did say that.
Yeah, and
I brought that up because I remember Jonathan Haidt said in his book that insane people basically only have the rational part of their brain normally functioning. Everything else is whack. Well, I don't know. I'm only remembering this off the top of my head. But yeah, Oh, he's looking it up right now.
Yeah, no, I can quickly go through it. Sorry, I had to. It's just
I think
G.K.
G.K. Chesterton basically said the same thing. I remember.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's this sort of talking about the madman is not hampered by the sense of humor or by charity or by the dumb certainties of experience. He is the most logical for losing certain sane affections. Indeed, the common phrase for insanity is in this respect a misleading one. The madman is not the man who has lost his reason. The madman is the man who has lost everything except his reason. And so that's also, this is also just quoting the exact same quote that Spencer Clavin quoted in that one Young Heretics episode. But still, it's a great quote. It's worth saying a bunch of times. G.K. Chesterton has this great wit too, and it helps to balance out Nietzsche. But certainly there is this way in which, like, the entire film, he is just like a flowchart of decisions, and like everything is just, like he moves through it like somebody, like, you just like watch this kind of emotionless chef cut up a piece of fish or something. Like, he's just so surgical and exact, and everything he does makes sense. And if there is a kind of like to go back to those the touch on Dirty Harry for a bit. Dirty Harry had this kind of thing in his this kind of sick way that he would play with criminals and do the "Do you feel lucky" thing. Like Anton Chigurh has a kind of "Do you feel lucky" thing where he's just sitting there playing with Carson in the hotel. So he's got this, he's just brought up this a kind of competitor, another criminal competitor of his to basically to just kind of to get him out of the way. He takes Woody Harrelson's character back to his room, catches him off guard, and Anton Chigurh is basically there to get him out of the way. And that just, always in Anton Chigurh's case means murder. And so he's sitting there talking with him, playing with him before he murders him. And he does this, and he asks him this question: if the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule? And it's just this kind of, and he's got this smirk, and you just like, I don't know, man. Woody Harrelson's character, you don't see him for very often,
he's in like
long.
3 scenes, I think.
Yeah, he's in like 3 scenes,
3 or 4,
and he's a
4.
great character. I love that character too.
Yep.
But he's like, he's just sitting there playing with him, and you just feel him, like, for him in this like helpless situation, and he's gonna get killed, and he tries to plea for his life a bit, and then Chigurh basically, tells him this super rational, just like mechanical kind of thing of just like, that just is like one of those kind of weird relativistic truths, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And that's his character. The entire film, Anton Chigurh, is this just cold, calculated, rational monster, basically, who makes perfect sense in this kind of world, where all the old folks are just talking about, how do you even measure crime in this kind of way? And it's like, it's in a world where truth is relative, and because truth doesn't really exist, it's just the negation is all that exists. And anyway, I don't know if do you want to say anything more about Anton Chigurh, or the sort of I don't know. I'm trying to there's so many points and so many threads to pull in this movie that it's just like,
it's hard. I don't know. I guess we'll get to it when we talk probably about like Llewellyn's wife. His name I don't remember.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah, I forgot her name as well. But she's played by that woman from Trainspotting. Shoot.
We'll look it up.
But yeah, no, like, so I guess I'll put it this way, that that's another thing too. Just this sort of way that he talks about, like, everybody loves that one scene with the gas station attendant at a Texaco. The old man, the first, what's the most you ever lost in a coin toss conversation. He's he's talking to him, and he's just like, Anton Chigurh is just this like information processing machine, basically. Like it's having a conversation with an insane person, where he's just, you know, the guy's only trying to make small talk, and Anton Chigurh is just grilling him on all this stuff for just no apparent reason, and it's super uncomfortable. And
Well, the guy initiates.
Yeah, the guy initiates. Yeah, and then Chigurh kind of just goes through this really sociopath, this psychopath conversation. I thought one of the funnier bits of it, he's, did you always live here in this house on back? Well, my wife's father initially owned the place. Oh, you married into it, and well, that's not the way I'd put it. There's no way to put it. That's the way it is. This objective way of looking at things, just this really kind of material thing, like totally oblivious to narrative value of anything. Just really material outlook on stuff. And in every interaction that he has, that's it. Like, it's that surgical way of moving through conversations, and that way of just kind of, cutting to the very most refined, just the most refined, rational way of looking at things, except for 2 instances. Like, everything goes
the first one?
Anton Chigurh's way, except for 2 instances, two interactions.
Are you talking about right at the end?
Yeah, right at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the first one then is when he confronts Carla Jean.
That's it, Carla Jean.
Carla Jean.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Confronts Carla Jean, and she's like the first hiccup in his kind of way of thinking, which is funny because the entire time he's, that idea, if the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule. It's kind of this wrench that gets thrown in that, yeah. No, it's so great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because like everybody reacts the same way. Like they all beg for their lives. Like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
They make him out to be like this, almost like as cold and calculating as Chigurh is, but then like, he's on the wrong end of the shotgun. He acts pretty much like you'd expect anybody to act.
Yeah. No, it's like they're all fearful in this way, and even Llewellyn to a certain extent. It's just it turns to rage. It's not that same kind of fear, but it's like,
I mean, it does with Woody Harrelson too. But like, Llewellyn has a chance to get out.
Yes, that's right.
But she doesn't.
That's right. That's the most important thing I think to mention. Like nobody else that knew this man was given a chance, and then at the very end, in his cold, calculated way, he flips the coin, and that's the chance. It's a 50-50 chance, and it also abdicates responsibility for him.
This is the best I can do. Call it.
I know you was crazy when I saw you sitting there. I knowed exactly what was in store for me.
Call it.
No. I ain't gonna call it.
Call it.
The coin don't have no say. It's just you.
Well, I got here the same way the coin did.
And he says I think is a great line. What is it? Me and the coin got here the same way, or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like equating himself with an inanimate object,
right?
Basically.
Yeah. No, like he really is just this like the coldest character. And so, yeah, I don't care that Heath Ledger's Joker overshadows him. That's a great character as well.
Yeah.
But like, that character doesn't have. I gotta say, I don't think the Joker has anything on Anton Chigurh.
Okay.
Well, in a comic book, it depends
Another
your
hot
measurements.
take. Whoa.
Another hot take. Depends your measurement. But the Joker is such a he's a comic book character, and he's bright and he's there.
Yeah.
And Anton Chigurh
wrong
is
with that.
not that. Anton Chigurh is more real in a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
And I mean real in like this, like he's such a great symbol of this kind of the worst aspects of nihilism, you know, and his presence just looms over everything in the film. Like the Joker, you got this thing, he's like crazy and
We should have watched both movies to compare.
maybe so,
That would
but
have been
like
interesting.
that would be great. Maybe that should be next on the list.
Oh, The Dark Knight. Geez.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like that maybe been done to death. But just to give
I
the
feel
Joker
like the characters
due,
like explain
Everything that happens in that movie, basically. I don't know.
to give the Joker his due.
Yeah.
Like it is great and this sort of bright thing, but Anton Chigurh is like is almost more ridiculous. The stupid wig, the dumb kind of like just all these the dumb way he talks, like, you know, friendo. Just these sort of stupid little things. Like they're not as
like it's hard not to laugh at like some of his lines for sure.
Oh,
even
yeah.
like in the most tense moments, like the first coin toss.
yeah. Oh, and there's some of that.
Even when he's like confronting Carla Jean, like at the end, I still I still laughed at. I forget what he said.
It's such a great and it's not like because you could talk about Heath Ledger's Joker as like, oh, it was a stroke of genius. He really got into the mindset of a psychopath. But Javier Bardem was, you know, that's the thing. The one thing I know about him is like he's like when he was asked, he's like, you want to do this movie, and he didn't know anything about it. He said like the two things he said was I don't like movies with guns, or I don't want to be a gun guy, and I don't want to speak English.
And I don't want to wear a wig.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, when he figured out that they're like, we're gonna have you wear this dumb wig, it's just like I don't want to wear that, and in a like, and it does look ridiculous.
Yeah.
But even though it looks ridiculous, in the context of the movie and how they shoot him, it never comes across as ridiculous. Like that character's like it's like when they every time you see Javier Bardem in that movie, it's basically like in a way the same way that they reveal RoboCop in RoboCop, of course. Like they reveal this ridiculous looking RoboCop that is laughable.
RoboCop 3, right?
No. No,
Make it sure.
The first of the only two RoboCop movies. Yeah.
Whatever.
That is RoboCop 1 and 3. I skipped the second because it's garbage. Jokes.
Okay.
No, I love I love RoboCop 2. It's also great. But the first RoboCop, you've got this dumb, mechanical looking cop, and it's revealed in a really brilliant way in that it still looks powerful and awesome because you see an obstructed view of him walking into the police station through the glass, and then you get all these excited cops running down the hallway, and it's such a great reveal. So often, this ridiculous-looking wigged man is revealed in the same kind of way, in a way that it's like he comes out from out of focus.
Not just in the movie, like in every scene.
Like in every scene, yeah. Like
every scene with another character, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like confronting another character, basically.
But even like in the very beginning, he's kind of like, it's really. He's handcuffed.
Yeah, he's out of focus.
He's out of
in
focus.
His first shot.
In his first shot, he's out of
he's
focus.
Working his handcuffs onto like the front of his body.
Yeah. Well, maybe there was one before that when they put him in the car and take him away.
Oh, maybe.
But it's like it's so short. You don't like he's still obstructed. It's like you never get this kind of like you don't get like the introduction like a protagonist gets, where it's just like the man standing on the mountain with like proudly standing there. He's always kind of set up when you first see him in darker areas, in like this really kind of like almost Matrix like lighting, or this cold kind of lighting. Most of the movie, he's in the colder temperature parts of the film, or at least that's how I feel. That's like my memory of him is like, that. And so that's a brilliant way to just get that character across and to kind of put that presence there. That just is always, throughout the entire movie, that presence is just looming, which is great because it's like that dark potential of nihilism is just there. And what a wonderful. So that's one. That's like the most obvious nihilist, I would say, in the movie, or the most obvious. I hesitate to say like analog for nihilism, because like, symbolically you could see Anton Chigurh as the kind of just the psychopathic killer,
Yeah.
Like he's not an analogy for like, Ed Gein or anything like that. He's just like, you know, he just is what he is. He's this kind of symbol, I guess. But you have a whole load of other kind of similar kind of symbols. And I would say that like Llewellyn is a certain kind of soft and this is where I am getting in kind of into you know, Father Seraphim Rose nihilism territory, in that the individualist is kind of like a bit of a nihilist as well, in this sense that it's like, well, truth is relative, and I build my own castle and my own truth, and I stand up against the world. And that, like Dirty Harry, in a way, you know, these Llewellyn and his family are kind of that kind of thing. Like he's trying to brute force it, basically, like himself against everything, and he's not going to have any help from the sheriff. He's not going to take any sort of like, you know, he's going to take it head on. It's like he looks into the abyss, and yeah, it's this kind of like I see him kind of as this kind of like the individualist with an individual solution, you know? Yeah. Not as extreme as like Good Time or anything, but it's like he's just he's
a good movie. We should no, I don't think there's much to talk about, is there?
There's not much to talk about in that movie, apart from it's very similar to another movie.
Very chaotic.
What was the movie I was comparing that to? Do you remember?
Wise Blood?
Yeah, Wise Blood. Yeah, Wise Blood and
I
Good
don't
Time.
know.
They're kind of really similar movies.
If you say so.
I would say in a way, just in this sort of like trying to brute force it and trying to like
really not
just
like
push against the current as much as
plot
possible.
wise or anything. But yeah, I get what you mean. Like,
yeah. If you don't know Good Time is a movie that's just basically like it is cops from the perspective of the perp.
yeah,
Like,
I guess so.
yeah, and I think it's even. Well, let's take a little digression into Good Time.
Oh, okay.
Small one. I promise we'll get back to the situation at hand. But it's like
tie it back
basically, even in Good Time, you see clips of cops strewn throughout it, and so it's obviously like sending that kind of message of just like, yep, this is basically you're getting to see everything that led up to the arrest, where you get like, because everybody watches Cops for like the, you know, why do you have this deodorant stick of meth tied around your ankle? Oh, my friend holding it for my friend. But you don't get to see what led up to that, and it's Good Time is what led up to that. So if you're down for that, watch Good Time. It's a good time.
It's not a good time. Disclaimer.
Man, that movie takes
it's a tense movie.
just like, oh, but it is. Yeah, there's nothing to talk about there. That's a movie that's like, it's an experience. It's just like, it'd be like talking about what it's like to, you know, take amphetamines. I don't know. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
Please don't do it.
Oh, side note, we should watch Uncut Gems, though, at some point.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I don't know if it would make a great episode, but
yeah, it'd be fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we could work that into tying it in with Wise Blood. I don't know.
No, I don't think that one.
But just back to that sort of like the idea of the soft nihilism and the kind of individualistic sort of thing. And what I mean by that is that like to accept this sort of idea of liberalism, and kind of this the individual as well. Like the conservative version of liberalism is, you know, it's basically classical liberalism. It's kind of the libertarianism.
Yeah, sure.
And what is libertarianism? Well, it's like it's obviously telling you what the high point is.
Mm-hmm.
Like every religion tells you the high point, pretty much in the title. And the title of this religion is liberty. It's freedom, you know. And so, what is it? Freedom as a high point. You know, well, freedom as a high point is. It's basically just saying limitless potential is the high point, and it doesn't mean freedom as in like, you know, it could mean for various people. And again, it's relative. So it's like, yeah, it's saying there is no truth. It's saying truth is relative. Because libertarianism for one person could be work real hard, follow the natural order of things, and you'll be rewarded.
On that a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
I mean, it's not saying there's no truth. It's just saying you can seek out your own truth. But
right, but what does that imply?
I shouldn't even say seek out your own truth, but you can seek out the truth, which I feel like is a lot of what these like overthrow the institution stories are.
Sure.
There's somebody, like the what's his face Justin Murphy quote. I've worship God so that you can tell everybody else to shove it, basically.
Yeah.
Like that idea is like that's what people like. That's what I can't think of a good example right now, but
it just runs off into
overthrow
so
the
many
institution and then like you supposedly like submit to a higher power or seek a higher truth.
Yeah, but like it's so different though, because it's like
it doesn't usually
it just doesn't pan out
that way,
because it's like it runs off into a bunch of different directions.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then everybody's got their own truth in their pocket to whip out and use like a Swiffer sweeper. Okay.
We're gonna get into that.
Get into that? Oh, a little bit.
Oh,
just saw a sign today that was just kind of funny, and it just said Jesus ... the quicker picker upper. I don't know what that means other than.
That's why you gotta go to the sermon, Wiki.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll stop by tomorrow morning and see what it's about. Give him a chance, I guess.
Learn a thing or two. You didn't know about Jesus.
Yeah.
Quicker picker upper.
He's great on dusty vents. And those fan blades that you haven't got to for a long time. Yeah.
It sounds so convenient.
Oh man, this is getting heretical. No, but it's just, it's this idea of like the go off and find your own truth. Yeah, it's like just the idea of critiquing institutions. Critiquing institutions isn't a bad thing, in a sense. The sort of by a lot of the what we posit, we are necessarily saying that the opposite of what we posit is false, and so in a way we are critiquing institutions. You're critiquing something whenever you speak in a certain kind of way. And if you come out with a negative statement and like an actual critique towards something, that's not a bad sort of thing. But the problem is with the libertarian vision is that it really does kind of suggest that critique and then find the truth. But it doesn't suggest like find the truth, like here's the truth. It suggests like, hey, yeah, go get your own truth. It just becomes very relative.
Yeah.
Because it's not explicitly stated that it's like, what's the first, like if there's a little quick flyer on libertarianism, like it'll say just like freedom is our number one priority, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's why it's named appropriately. That's why it's libertarianism. And so it's like, it's not overt nihilism, but it's kind of soft-core nihilism, I would say. And so would Father Seraphim Rose. But I haven't internalized that work just yet. But just saying it, like these characters all make sense existing in this world. It's kind of it's like a microcosm of America, really, in a lot of ways. Like all these characters. And so, and this movie does point towards, so I don't know. I don't know if we can get into this just yet, or how are we doing? We're getting
we're like 40 minutes in.
Well, that's not bad. Okay, then we can basically, we're at the point where we can get to spoil the last thing there is to spoil in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is the ending. And it's what a great ending. And the first time I saw it, it was just like, wow, great. He just told his wife a couple of dreams. That's absolutely, well, that's cool. But no, it exposes the kind of, I would say, like the meta narrative. And that is that this movie is about...
Talk about the car accident, actually.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know if you wanted to.
No, we didn't get in the... Okay, yeah, go ahead. You get on it.
Oh.
It's you.
Why is it me?
Oh, because my throat's getting a little bit dry. I need recovery time.
So after he leaves Carla Jean's house...
Yeah, after he murders her.
After
checks his shoes for blood. Nice touch.
Yeah. After that, he gets into a car accident, just like a complete freak accident, completely, of fate. You think like, oh, well, now he's screwed, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he can really get out of this. But then these two kids show up. He, at first, like, Anton Chigurh, like, I don't know what bone, like, came out of his arm. But
yeah.
he broke his arm, like, really badly. So then he gets a kid to basically like make him a tourniquet, right?
Right, but the kid like just comes out and just like offers him hospitality.
Yeah, just
like
out of his
like
goodwill.
nothing, you know. Like it's just so it's such a contrast to the character.
Mister, you had a bone sticking out of your arm.
All right, let me just sit here a minute.
There's an ambulance coming. Man over yonder went to call.
All right.
Are you all right? You got a bone sticking out your arm.
What did you take for the shirt?
Well, hell, mister. I'll give you my shirt.
But yeah, no,
Oh, yeah.
the hospitality of the kid.
Yeah, he just pays the two kids like $100 to just say that they didn't see him.
Yeah,
Basically, after that.
it's the second.
So I guess
event.
there is that like the corrupting influence like on
Mm.
the kids, because then after that they like fight over the $100 bill.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for certain. But I think the takeaway in like from those two exchanges, it's like everything goes Anton Chigurh's way, and everything is totally fine
he
until
doesn't get
these.
the money, does he?
I don't know if he actually does, because it's like
No, because the Mexicans.
yeah, the Mexicans took it. I'm pretty
took
sure
it.
they got the cash back.
Yeah.
But like, oh man, just the idea that like he goes through all this, and his character, everything he does, he gets exactly what he wants every single time, apart from getting shot once, but recovering from it and moving through the recovery seamlessly.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter, and you get this sense that as he's repairing himself, it's like, it's just another day on the job.
Yeah, he wins pretty much every confrontation except for one.
Yeah, except for the last one, and then
Not
this,
the last. Well,
Yeah, well, except for Carla Jean.
no, except for Llewellyn's, like the shootout with Llewellyn.
Oh, sure.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's about it, though.
Yeah. But I would say that, like, even so, like, he recovers from that pretty well.
Yeah.
He recovers from that, and he's like, his confidence is not shaken whatsoever. And then he gets down to killing Carla Jean, and she upsets his logical format. And then this chance occurrence of a car accident also just shakes him off of his foundation, as well. It's wonderful. Like, it's such a great. No, I love that. I love that sort of like. Yeah. So. Then, of course.
Now we can get to the dreams.
Yeah, now you can get to the dreams,
Okay.
which are such a great ending. I just love that ending. Just because, first time you see it, it's like, it's the boring part, and then it ends. It's like, just what an ambiguous ending. No, he's describing the total loss. His dreams are basically stories of the total loss of tradition and of the light.
So
Which
what's the first? How do you interpret the first dream?
The first dream.
Because it's just like it's.
Oh yeah, it's like an
My
offhand
father gave me
remark.
some money and I lost it. Is basically all it was.
The symbol of it, and it's like that's so great too that he's talking about like his father is younger than him in this.
Yeah.
Which is also a great symbol, because it's like he's old and decrepit now and just sitting there with questions. And in his memory, his father is like a young, more, like there's vitality to it. His dreams of his father is younger than him. So his father has more life. So that's a great kind of symbol and a contrast between his old self in his nihilist world with nothing but questions and wondering why is everything shot. And his father is a young man. And the first dream is quick, but it's meaningful. Is that his father gave him some money, and he says, "I don't know. I think I lost it." So, and it's like, so the first dream is his father giving him something that he loses, and so his father's handing him his young and healthy father is handing him something of value, and he loses it. And and the fact that he just kind of can't recollect it is it's a good little symbol to put in there. The second dream is they're in the olden days, so it's set in a traditional time, in this kind of more traditional American kind of time. They're on horseback in the dead of winter as well, so in the dead time of the year. And he describes his father, going through this mountain pass, and it's cold and it's snowy and dark, and his father passes him on horseback, with a horn containing the fire, containing light. And he said that, like the dream, it's like, yeah, my father passed me, and he went on ahead, and then he describes that his father is on ahead, preparing a fire, waiting for him. And then I woke up. And that's it. And that's all you get. But what is it telling you? It's telling you that, like, his father was trying to give him something in the first dream that he lost. And then in the second dream, you see that it's still there. Like, the thing that his father has is still there. And it's the fire. And it's also telling it's, carrying it in a horn, like the olden days. Like, it just pours with this kind of religious imagery of candles and of the light, and how religious traditions treat light and candles. In the tradition that I'm quite fond of, that I'm moving into, like, candles play a huge part.
Quite fun.
It's like orthodoxy and icons and them being lit by candles. It's
Surprised
like it's a huge
just
thing.
come up now.
Oh, it's been about this the entire time. Mentioned Father Seraphim Rose, so but he's off in the distance. Like, this movie, like, it's not only does this movie not have an ambiguous ending, it tells you what's happening. It tells you that you're in the period of darkness, and that the traditions of the father and the sort of the light bearer that was the father maybe failed to connect, or maybe this generation, Tommy Lee Jones's generation, or his or let's just say humanity of this era has failed to capture and keep the light and be a kind of steward of the light. But that the light still exists, that it went on ahead and he's waiting. So it's still out there. So this ending of the movie is not like, it's like the truth isn't dead.
Yeah.
The truth is out there. And but he woke up at this point. So it's like, this is where the dream ends, is also where that's not where the story ends, but it's where it tells you, like, where you are. The dream ends where it's like that light is still out there and we're still in the darkness. And then I woke up.
So you don't interpret that as, like, necessarily like heaven or something. You see that
No.
as, like, that could be like a King Arthur will return.
Oh, I can definitely see that as a Return of the King kind of thing. And that's like, that'd be my most optimistic read of it.
Yeah.
Although, the Christian story is not like a story of anacyclosis. It's a story of linear, this is the birth of something, and then this is the death of something, and then this is revelation. So it's like, I don't know, like, is the light...
Oh, we're going to have to talk about linear time versus circular time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time,
this will go off forever.
That's, okay, yeah.
But no, I think it's optimistic. It's like, so it's not ambiguous, and it's optimistic. But it speaks of, like, and okay, quote Chesterton again, something like this idea of death and nihilism. I think it was Chesterton who said that, Christianity has died many times, but we follow the one who's found his way out of the grave. And that's the second story, is that he's following the Father, and the Father is off in the distance with the light, and that he knows that he's waiting for him. So it's like, it's a really great sort of, it's an unambiguous ending disguised as an ambiguous ending. And it's perfect because you can, anybody can get into this movie. I loved this movie when I was just an action junkie, looking for like a cat and mouse chase. And I got into this movie, and it's like, oh, it grows on you. And then you every time you watch it, it's good. You might pick up more deeper significance. And that's it for me. That's No Country for Old Men, and that's that's what it's about. I would say is the age of nihilism, and the question that Nietzsche said cannot be answered is why. And I think this movie says that it can be answered, but just not yet.
Right.
or just that we're not at the point of the answer.
Yeah.
Loretta tells me you're quitting. How come you're doing that?
I don't know. I feel overmatched. I always figured when I got older, God would sort of come into my life somehow. And he didn't. And I don't blame him. If I was him, I'd have the same opinion of me that he does.
You don't know what he thinks.
But yeah, no, the ways in which it always comes up, that the question why is between the old man in the wheelchair, who is kind of just, you know, telling him about the dismal tide, that it's not the one thing, it's the dismal tide. Oh no, that wasn't the man in the wheelchair. That was the guy he talked to in the cafe.
Bones in their noses.
And the green hair.
Little green hair and the bones. We just saw a green haired lady today.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a common occurrence. It's like like the
pride signs in their hands.
Born this way, written on the cardboard box.
Rainbow flags.
They're not even rainbows anymore. But rainbow's a great symbol for it. Like it really
coexist bumper stickers on the cars.
Man, yeah, no, it's like it's absolutely everywhere. Like perennialism, those bumper stickers I see, and I just like, man, wow, I never knew that. Well, I guess so. Like it's like all these different. It's weird though. I have to say, it's really strange because it's like they're all kind of evoking this thing of relative truth. But they all explain it with the same language, and they explain it with the same obstacle of like, this is the truth we have to overcome to get to the real truths.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what do you mean by that? It's like, could you explain your truth without contrasting it to the truth you don't like? You know, it's like, well, no, you can't. And that's like what a beautiful symbol it is this idea of like, the rainbow is there. The rainbow exists. Like, it's there. And it's like, there are some that want to cut it off. But like it's there, but you also have to recognize that the white light in the middle, you know, like the sun is the source of the rainbow, you know, like, and in that way, it's like, you know, it's all kind of covered in a way, in this really kind of, in this beautiful way. And so it's like, but yeah, certainly a symbol of multiplicity, the rainbow.
Yeah.
Righto. We are just tearing down a million different paths now, and digressions.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Cut that part.
Sure.
We'll
so
see.
hopefully most of this has been intelligible. Maybe it'll be like corralling cats when we get to editing this, although we never cut.
Never.
Never.
Not once.
Not even once. So, I don't know, Andrew. Do you have a better send-off than that? We'll see you next month.
Yeah.
Or however these get sent out.
I really don't have a good ending.
Yeah, I don't have a good ending either.
I just want I could tell you about this dream that I had.
And then you woke up?
Uh-huh.